Another topic in the Nordics is actually that private health insurance is growing very, very rapidly. And history has always been in Finland, where the tradition was to have private health insurance, but especially like in Denmark, it's been growing quickly. Up to close to 20% of the population today has a private health insurance, and it's been really tax funded. If you give it to the boss in the company, if you don't give it to the rest of the company, I mean, you will have not the same tax incentives to give the private health insurance. It's available for all people that are working in the companies, and it's also like the corporate health issue coming in here. But still, the Nordic countries are far behind when it comes to private health insurance versus the European level. Almost 30% of the population has a private health insurance. And especially like Norway and Sweden, it's really still provided healthcare by the public side, but people start also to get private health insurances for some extra access to doctors, etc. As I said, one of the big challenges is really the aging structure of our countries. And today this is a figure of Stockholm, which is close to 25% of the Swedish population, and still relative to other parts of Sweden has quite a good age structure, since a lot of young people is moving in there because you have more works, etc. But there's a big population of around, born in the 40s, that actually will increase the number of people that are in between 65 up to 79, and they are still very, very active. They have very, very good economy. They have a lot of private insurance and so on, and they are, I think, one of the target groups to go after. The big change after 2020 is really that the really, really old people, plus 80, when you really need to be more, go to the hospitals and get to different operations. That increase will come later. And this is the same picture, I would say, for all Nordic countries. This is just a picture showing what is happening. How is the public side trying to cope with an increased demand for healthcare, while the cost or the spending needs to be quite flat. And one thing is to allow private players to be more active, providing the specialist type of surgery. It can be like in orthopedics. This is hip and knee surgery, eye surgery, cataract surgery is another example. But it's coming more and more different type of systems. And what they do, really, they used to do tenders and say, okay, how many operations do you want to do this type? And you had to give in your price, and it was like a competition. The one that gave the lowest price normally will get it. What's changing now is more you get into authorization. It's like, okay, you're a good clinic, you're allowed to do this operation, and it's the same fee for everyone. And what's happening then is that the specialist clinics will take a bigger and bigger part of this specialist operation, because they're very, very focused, they're very, very good process, and also they're very good in what they're doing in quality. And as you see, very rapidly from 2008 to 2010, for this type of planned surgery in the Stockholm County, actually the private share went from about 1/3 to 2/3. It goes very, very quickly once you start. And it's also very easy to attract people, because a lot of people actually move out of the hospitals. They get a bit better paid and also a better working environment. And sometimes these operations also are made within the hospitals by the private clinics. Not so much in Stockholm, but in some other parts. So that was healthcare. The other part of the business, of course, is care, general care. And this is provided by the municipalities, not provided by the counties or the state. This has been the area where privatization has been allowed to come up quicker and be a major part of the provision. The biggest chunk of this is, of course, the care of the elderly people, almost 50% of the market. And while also, individual assistance, disabled care of people has also been growing very, very rapidly in the last 10 years. And it's again a very, very large market. It's more than 40 billion euros spent in these 4 countries with about 25 million people. So this is a big market. And here the private provision is much, much larger, especially like in Finland, and also it's growing very quickly in Sweden. But Denmark and Norway is much more resistant and more leading to the old way to do it. I think Denmark will change, and this will come very much from the economic problems or budget deficits in the country, and the big relatively high loans or burden of loans they have in the country. But Sweden has been a bit in the forefront here, and Finland has always been in history allowing more private provision. The care providers, again, who are they? There's a lot of same names that you saw also that are providing specialist care. Like Carema is a part of Ambea that was also doing hospital care, but actually, the general care is a big proportion. But you have some players like Attendo, which actually I would say best-in-class provider, and they are active in most Nordic countries, especially in Sweden and Finland. They're very strong. They're also trying to build their presence in Denmark, a bit slower in Norway. But most of these players are actually Nordic, they're not only in one countries. But some you see are more local, but they're growing well. They have sales growth, 10 to 20%, they're about 10% profitability. So it's a good market, and it's very allowed, I think, from a political sense of view, that private provision will continue to do this. And based again, it's really on cost. The cost per day by the private provider is lower than the public side. And the municipality doesn't want to handle it themselves because this is not the core business, what they do best.